Now let's go ahead and see the class. So group of selectors, grouping of selectors. Why do we use grouping of selectors? Let me just right. So as you said, yeah, I'll tell you. I'll just give a scenario where we may use selector grouping. Now let's say we have multiple divs in our program, in our code, HTML code, like multiple. Like say we have 100 divs here. Let's say, let us say that we have 100 divs with us. Okay, so in which I want to have let's say 3 divs have same style and the rest have a different style, and out of these three divs I need only one rule, or let's say only 2 rules to be same and rest be different, or let's say not 2, let's say 10 rules. Okay, 10 rules be same and rest be different, let's say. In that case, okay, I can't, I can't just keep on writing 10 rules for 3 divs 3 times, so it becomes 30 rules, right? It's like kind of redundant. So instead of that, what I can do is like I can just group these 3 guys. I can group them and give the same set of rules, same set of 10 rules, and then later whatever is different for these rules, for these divs, whatever is different, I go ahead and style them individually using those classes. Okay, so now that's where the grouping of selectors comes into picture. Like whenever I want to style, okay, certain tags, certain selectors with the same kind of rules, with the same kind of styling, then I'll go with grouping. Instead of writing multiple times the same rules, I just go ahead and say, hey, this div has this rule, this div has the same rule, so let's group them together so that they get these styles get applied to them. Okay, so that's how grouping is used. I'll just give the syntax of our grouping. How do we do it? Just, it's pretty simple. It's a selector 1, and if I use a comma, selector 2 and selector 3, like such, and here I'll say property value, property value, and property value. Now grouping is done by separating the selectors with a comma. So if I separate the selectors with a comma, it means that I'm grouping these selectors together so that these property values will be applied on those selectors. Okay, that's how grouping is done. Grouping is done because to save the space in our CSS files. Like instead of, like, what if there are 10 properties which has to be applied on each selector, then I'll go ahead and start grouping, because it becomes 30 lines of code if I write them separately. Like for selector 1, the same set of rules, selector 2, the same set of rules, selector 3, the same set of rules. So it becomes like 30 lines of code. So it's kind of, see, when we have huge number of files, then it becomes, the size does matter. I mean, the less the size of the file, the more the less the loading time of the website. We'll be seeing the performances when we talk, when we get into the PHP. But yeah, this is the rule, this is the thumb rule, like saying the file should be as small as it can be so that it loads pretty fast. If the file is pretty big, the loading time is more. So to avoid these extra code, okay, sometimes we use functions, as you said, Arun said before, functions is used to reuse the code. Just like that, I'll be using grouping of selectors in CSS to cut down the number of lines so that I can apply the same properties and values on different selectors. Okay, well, let's go ahead and see one small example. So I'm going to start sharing my screen here. Well, let's go ahead and see an example here. So, oops. So I'll just close these files here which are open. These are not essential for us. Great. So now, doc type. Our code always starts with doc type HTML, then HTML, inside the HTML, head, inside the head we'll use the title. So it says Tutoslive CSS Selector Grouping. Alright, let's go ahead and write some code here for body. Alright, so here let's write a h2 saying welcome to the class. We are here to discuss grouping. So I'll use 3 divs here. I'll just copy paste. Alright, so let's say class equal to, let's say this is 1, this is 2, and this is 3. Alright, so I'll say this inside our regular folder Tutoslive. So this is let's say group selectors dot html. Okay, group selectors dot html. Well, let's let me write small content in there so just to appear. Let's say this is first div, second div, and third div. So I'll go here. Tutoslive and group selectors. I'll just drag them here and I drop it here. Yeah, you guys can see it here. This is okay. Now let's start grouping. So style. What I want to do is like I want to group the h2 and div with the same style. Let's say the color be some blue. So now you can see a group. Instead of writing, I can write them like this too, like h2 separately and div separately, and I can apply some sort of styling, right? Any like color blue. Okay, then what I'll say is like font size, let's say 24 pixels. Okay, right, 24 pixels, the font size. Now what I do is like, now let's say I don't want this to be on one. I want to separate them, but the rest of them to be in the same styling as the h2 and whatever I thought. But for one, what I want to do is like, I don't want that. I want the color to be red, and I want the font size to be less. Let's say 12 pixels. Alright. So like such. Now see, I don't have to let's say I'll say text decoration, let's say underline. Oops. You can see like such. I'll use grouping to have the same, like, the properties which I wanted, and I can separate one out of it, so this eases my work. Instead of writing all the styles on each of them, I can just separate them like this and group them if I want to. Okay, so that's grouping. Like you can group anything, whatever you want. You can group classes with, see, for instance, I'll write let me write a span here. Okay, let me write a span here, and I'll say, hey, I'm a span and I want the same style as first div. Please consider, let me say. So this guy is requesting to be in the same styling as one, so I'll just group it. Like, what I say comma, and then I write a span is selector 2, dot 1 is a class selector. So like such, I'll come back here and I'll refresh. Now you can see here, see, this guy has the same styling as one, except this guy has no what you call text decoration underline, because text decoration underline is for divs, not for span. So now, yeah, since this guy wants the same kind of styling as this guy, so I'll group him here too. I'll group him with the divs also. So now you can see here, this guy has the same styling as this guy. So like such, I can group, I can do whatever I can. Okay, any questions here? Grouping is used to write less code, kind of reusable code, when if I have to apply the same kind of styles to different selectors, yeah, I'll go ahead and I'll group instead of writing them individually. So that's the only advantage grouping has got, like writing less code. So if you don't have any questions, I'll go ahead and carry on, continue with nesting of selectors. Yeah, any questions guys here? No questions? Arun, you here? So how about the assignment? Taufik, did you see the assignment I have posted in list styling, I guess? So tomorrow we'll be seeing that assignment in the class. Like we'll be seeing the basic layout in tomorrow's class. So you guys can go ahead and have a little practice. Just revise whatever has happened in the CSS classes. Awesome. So if you're finished, no, it's not like that. It's not like, it's just the order. Like for instance, let me just go ahead and write this guy on top of this. It's just the order. CSS follows line order. Like this guy is written on line 6 and this guy is written on line 7. So it just follows order. First it goes here and applies this, and later on it comes here and applies this. Let's see how does it happen. It's just order. It's not like they don't have anything. Now you can see here, right? Since the span is here, it's applying blue, font size 24 and text decoration underline. But yeah, for classes it's overwritten. Like it did not consider for the class. For the class, yeah, even if I write these stylings are in the second line, in the seventh line, this is in sixth line and seventh line. You can see it here. If you go to Chrome, I'll show you guys how to do it. So if you see here, class 1, see what it does is, like, it did not consider these stylings. You can see here, okay, this is on line 7, this is on line 6, but still it takes this because it's a class. So class precedes over the individual tags. But it doesn't matter with the group selectors or individual selector. It's all about the order in which we write the styling. I can overwrite here again, like say only for dot 1. Okay, only for dot 1 I say I don't want color red, I want color green. I can go ahead and overwrite here. Like see, you can see it's a green color now. Okay. And yeah, coming to topic again. Topic, if you're done with the assignment, you can just email me. Just reply to those emails. I'll be sending that email today regarding the assignment. Okay, so just reply to that email. Attach your if there are multiple files, zip them and send it to me. If it's just one file, just go ahead and send that one file so that I'll just see how you have written the code, and I'll explain it in the class tomorrow, saying how did you write your code. Okay, so I'll be sending one email right after the class saying asking for the solutions for the assignments. If not done, yeah, tomorrow is a class wherein we'll be doing not exactly the same assignment, but yeah, a similar assignment. Okay. All right. So, any other questions, Arun? So, group selectors are mostly used like, see now. Let's do one thing here. Span, not span. I'll say $2. Sorry, dot two. So I said dot two. I come here. You see now, two has this and this. Say like, I can just this is how grouping is done. Initially I grouped 1 and 2 and I wanted to apply this font size 2 and color red. Then I thought like, okay, the third span and h2 should have the same kind of styling, and one should be separated from these two stylings. So hence, that's how the grouping is used. It's up to the designer's choice again. Whatever you do based on uh, this all the way to top. Then it takes color red. It takes this order. See, initially, oh, where is this? It's the precedence is for the class selector and the tag selector. Okay, yeah, we'll just see what happens. Now you can see here, it still takes this next line. I guess the line number 7. Okay, so it's just the order of the styling. How do I give which styling did I give first, or which styling did I give last? So that's how it takes the styling. But when it comes to this tag selector and ID selector, let's say let's do one more experiment here. So is your question clear here? Like, it only takes the order in which I give the styling, but for classes, okay, over classes have more priority over tag selectors. Okay, and let's go ahead and see. We did not use ID selectors until now, but let's see and let's start and use IDs. Okay, let's say this ID is third div. Okay, I have a specific what do you call protocol or rule that I'll write all the classes lowercase and all the IDs in camel order actually. Like, the first letter is capitalized and the second letter is the first letter of every word is capitalized. That's how I write my IDs, and this is how I write my classes. Okay, so there is nothing like you have to follow this, but just to have a differentiation I use this. So third div. Okay, so this time IDs are hashes. Okay, we did not use them before in the classes, but if you guys can remember that in the class selectors, I have told that IDs will be written with a hash and classes will be starting with a dot. IDs will be starting with a hash while styling, and in JavaScript too. Not in JavaScript but in jQuery. Okay, and for this I'll say color 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Alright, and remember, ID should be unique. It should not be given twice. Like say this guy has ID third div and this guy should not have the same ID again. Okay, remember this again. So now you can see here, even I can style using IDs too. Now for this guy, first div I say. Now here again override this color hash, or let's say we'll group third and first. Okay, so I say comma first div. So I come here, now you can see here these two guys have the same styling, or at least the same color. Now let's go ahead and give it on the top. Okay, so now you understood. What did you get from this experiment? What has the most top preference? Yeah, Arun, Taufik, which has a top preference? Which selector has a top preference? Exactly. ID has a first preference. Like if you give something in ID, it's forever. And then class, and then tag selector. Now, however, I want to overwrite it. Okay, so I want to overwrite them. For that, I've used this before, but I'll tell again. Now, how to overwrite a rule? Okay, in CSS. So for that, we use a keyword called exclamation important. Okay, exclamation important. So how do we use it? Select R,